10 extinct creatures more terrifying than dinosaurs. Imagine this for a moment. If dinosaurs were still roaming the earth today, what would our world look like? Without a doubt, it would be packed with danger and excitement. But wait, what if I told you that even before the age of dinosaurs, the planet was already inhabited by creatures that were larger, stronger, and arguably far more horrifying? Wouldn't that make you curious? From gigantic centipedes silently crawling through ancient forests to deep-sea monsters that made sharks think twice, these once dominant terrors of Earth were, in many ways, far fiercer than dinosaurs themselves. Number 10. Dunkleosteus. Hundreds of millions of years ago, a gigantic carnivorous fish known as Dunkleosteus ruled the oceans. As one of the most infamous killing machines of the Paleozoic era, it earned its reputation with a massive, robust body and a fearsome appearance, becoming the undisputed king of the Devonian seas. Because of misleading information online, it has long been imagined as a monster over 10 meters long. In reality, although its exact body shape remains unknown, most estimates place its maximum total length between 4.1 and 10 meters, with a weight of about 1 to 4 tons. Dunkleosteus belonged to the placoderms, with its head and neck covered in thick bony armor, which is why fossils of these parts are often exceptionally well preserved. It possessed a chillingly large mouth. At first glance, enormous sharp teeth were clearly visible. In fact, it had no true teeth at all. These structures were simply extensions of its armored skull. Dunkleosteus lived during the late Devonian period, about 380 to 360 million years ago, an era known as the Age of Fishes, marked by an explosion in fish diversity. As fish became more abundant, predators grew larger, and Dunkleosteus sat firmly at the top of the Devonian food chain, becoming the first heavyweight superpredator after the emergence of vertebrates. A 6-meter-long individual could deliver a bite force of around 750 kilograms, enough to crush the shells of contemporary trilobites and the armor of other placoderm fishes. Some sources claim its bite force reached 5 tons, comparable to that of a 13-meter Tyrannosaurus rex, but given its size, that would be wildly unrealistic. Even so, a 750-kilogram bite force in the Devonian oceans was effectively unbeatable. It didn't just use this power to hunt prey, it also attacked its own kind. Paleontologists have found bite marks from other Dunkleosteus individuals on skull fossils, with some bones even crushed. Surprisingly, this formidable predator existed for only about 50 million years, a relatively short time compared to many other species. The most likely cause of its extinction was a mass extinction event at the end of the Devonian, which drastically reduced oxygen levels in the oceans, a catastrophe for most life forms, especially a 3-ton monster. Number 9. The terror birds. In today's world, the largest living bird is the ostrich, with adults reaching about 2.5 meters in height, taller than most humans. Yet compared with the largest birds in history, even ostriches look rather modest. Terror birds were the only known group of large, ground-dwelling, carnivorous predatory birds ever discovered. They appeared around 62 million years ago in South America. Scientists are still unsure of their exact ancestors, though some speculate a distant connection to Tyrannosaurus rex, given that dinosaurs and birds are widely regarded as sharing a common origin. Terror birds typically stood about 3 meters tall, with body lengths ranging from 3 to 7 meters, making them absolute giants among birds. Their legs were highly developed, with powerful muscles and sturdy bones capable of smashing prey bones. They could run at speeds of up to 97 kilometers per hour. Their massive beaks exceeded 40 centimeters in length, about as long as an adult human's forearm. If they lived today, swallowing a dog whole would be little more than a casual snack. These birds didn't just eat flesh, they also consumed bone marrow. After stripping the meat, they used their strong legs to smash bones and extract the marrow inside. Not only were adult terror birds enormous, their eggs were also unusually large. Scientists speculate that many other carnivores of the time coveted these eggs, which may have been one of the key reasons for their extinction. Moreover, despite advantages in height and vision, terror birds lacked teeth and specialized forelimbs, which became their greatest weaknesses. Combined with skeletal adaptations originally evolved for flight, once fully committed to a terrestrial lifestyle, these traits turned into disadvantages. The extinction of terror birds once again demonstrates a harsh evolutionary lesson. Species that become overly specialized to cope with competitive pressure often struggle to adapt when the environment changes drastically, leaving them with little choice but extinction. Nature's way of reminding us that being too good at one thing can be a very bad idea. Number 8. The giant rat. In September 2003, scientists reported that in ancient Venezuela around 8 million years ago, a species of giant rodent weighing up to 700 kilograms once strolled leisurely through the region's swamps. In other words, rodents back then were less squeak and scurry and more move aside, please. Its body size was astonishingly comparable to that of a bison. This giant rodent lived in South America during a time when the continent was isolated from the rest of the world. Back then, South America was not yet connected to North America, allowing its animals to evolve independently, free from interference by species from other continents. The land was covered in lush, dense forests, essentially a paradise for large herbivores. However, about 3 million years ago, everything changed. The Isthmus of Panama rose above sea level, enabling animals from other continents to enter South America, which may have been one of the reasons for the extinction of these giant rodents. For an animal of such size, hiding from predators by digging burrows like a vole was simply unrealistic, so their only option was to rely on frantic running to escape danger. Although these giant rodents were related to modern guinea pigs, the difference in size was dramatic. With some estimates placing their weight at up to 800 kilograms, they dwarf today's largest living rodent, the capybara. They could reach a body length of 3 meters and a standing height of about 1.3 meters, making them the largest extinct rodents in history. And despite being herbivores, they possessed incisors up to 30 centimeters long, teeth that would be extremely dangerous if you happened to irritate one while passing by. Number 7. Helicoprion. The name alone sounds like it leapt straight out of a science fiction novel. Unlike most sharks, whose teeth are arranged in rows along the upper and lower jaws, Helicoprion was entirely different. Its lower jaw was circular and equipped with spiral-shaped teeth, a configuration unprecedented among vertebrates. As a cartilaginous fish, its skeleton rarely fossilized, making the reconstruction of its full body structure extremely difficult. Most of what we know about Helicoprion comes from its tooth fossils. Scientists speculate that it may have resembled a typical shark, similar to a bull shark, except for its most striking feature, a circular, protruding lower jaw. Various theories have been proposed regarding the function of this structure. Some believe it was used to ram prey or defend against predators, while others suggest it acted like a saw to slice through the shells of prey. Recent studies indicate that unlike modern sharks, whose teeth fall out and are replaced, Helicoprion's teeth never detached during its lifetime. New teeth gradually replaced old ones, with the total number reaching up to 150. The entire spiral of teeth was embedded in cartilage and attached to a single tooth root, with about 15 teeth exposed while the rest remained coiled inside, much like baby teeth waiting their turn. This unique dental structure allowed its jaws to open to an angle of up to 90 degrees, far exceeding the great white shark's 60 degrees. Helicoprion was fortunate enough to survive the Permian mass extinction, and after the event, ammonites rapidly recovered and diversified, providing abundant prey. As a result, this ammonite-hunting shark became the ruler of the oceans for nearly 8 million years. However, its highly specialized feeding system eventually became a disadvantage. When ammonite numbers declined sharply, its peculiar tooth arrangement made capturing other prey extremely difficult, ultimately leading to its extinction. At present, our understanding of Helicoprion remains limited, with many secrets still locked within ancient rocks, waiting to be uncovered by experts, scholars, and paleontology enthusiasts. Number 6. Megalodon. Megalodon is often hailed as the most powerful marine predator in Earth's history, feeding primarily on whales and possessing a bite force strong enough to easily sever a whale's spine. This prehistoric giant lived in the oceans of the Cenozoic era from about 28 million to 1.5 million years ago. One particularly striking detail is that megalodon pups were already about 2 meters long at birth. Even more remarkably, they grew inside the mother's womb by consuming their siblings, a phenomenon known as intrauterine cannibalism, proof that survival competition started early and without mercy. Megalodon was far larger and more ferocious than today's largest shark, the great white. It could exceed 16 meters in length and weigh over 40 tons, roughly equivalent to 5 adult elephants. It was famous for its massive, finely serrated teeth, each reaching up to 18 centimeters long. As with Helicoprion, much of what we know about Megalodon comes from fossilized teeth, as these were often the only parts hard enough to be preserved. Megalodon had 5 to 6 rows of teeth, totaling nearly 1,000 at any given time, and over its lifetime, it may have produced tens of thousands of teeth due to rapid replacement. Like some modern sharks, Megalodon was ovoviviparous, with fertilized eggs hatching inside the uterus. Only the first embryos to hatch survived, while the rest were consumed, ensuring that newborns were already relatively large and giving them a competitive edge as apex predators. Despite its dominance at the top of the food chain, Megalodon eventually went extinct. Around 3 million years ago, climate changes and the evolution of other fast, large carnivorous species created intense competition, which even this oceanic titan could not overcome. In particular, the emergence more than 2 million years ago of highly intelligent, cooperative orca-like predators may have placed enormous survival pressure on Megalodon, and in the end, this former ruler of the oceans vanished in the relentless current of natural selection. Number 5. Titanoboa. The existence of Titanoboa was only confirmed by scientists in 2009, when a remarkable collection of fossils was discovered in a coal mine in Colombia, including the remains of 28 giant snakes, the longest measuring between 12 and 15 meters and weighing over 1 ton. This immediately earned Titanoboa the title of the largest snake ever known to have lived on Earth. Scientists named it Titanoboa, and it was the undisputed apex predator of ancient swamps, where virtually any creature that entered its field of view stood little chance of survival. At its thickest point, its body was as wide as an oil barrel, and swallowing giant crocodilians would not have been a serious challenge. What created such a colossal snake? The answer lies in one of Earth's historical fevers. About 65 million years ago, a massive asteroid impact raised global temperatures by roughly 3 degrees Celsius, driving dinosaurs and many other organisms to extinction. Over the following 10 million years, Earth's climate gradually became suitable for life again, and Titanoboa emerged during this warm interval. As with modern snakes, higher temperatures tend to produce larger body sizes. Today's largest snakes are concentrated near the equator, such as in the Amazon rainforest, while snakes in northern regions rarely exceed 1 meter in length. However, this planetary fever both arrived quickly and faded quickly. When global temperatures returned to pre-impact levels, Titanoboa also disappeared from Earth. Although no skull fossils have yet been found, this has not hindered scientific research. The discovery of Titanoboa provides crucial evidence for Earth's climatic history and deepens our understanding of snake evolution. Number 4. The giant sea scorpion. Fossil evidence from Western Germany indicates that around 390 million years ago lived the largest arthropod ever discovered. A fossil preserves a claw measuring 46 centimeters long, from which scientists estimate a total body length of approximately 2.33 to 2.59 meters, taller than the average adult human. These giant sea scorpions belong to the extinct Eurypterid group and were dominant predators of their time, possibly related to the ancestors of modern scorpions and spiders. Taxonomically, however, Eurypterids belong to Chelicerata, while scorpions and spiders fall under Arachnida. Giant Eurypterids lived from roughly 460 to 445 million years ago, spanning the Ordovician to the Permian periods. Like other arthropods, they molted as they grew, and immediately after molting their bodies were soft and vulnerable, requiring time to harden. To avoid predation, hundreds of individuals would gather to molt simultaneously, and mating occurred afterward. Male sperm could survive for months inside the female, a reproductive strategy that made them highly adaptable. They could survive in freshwater and on land, and their hard exoskeleton allowed them to dominate aquatic environments. Their long forelimbs bore sharp spines capable of tearing prey apart. Even so, when confronted with straight-shelled cephalopods such as orthocones, they were often outmatched. Despite this, during the Ordovician and Silurian periods, giant Eurypterids and orthocones effectively co-ruled the seas. Number 3. Arthropleura. Beyond animated cartoons, can you imagine riding a 2.4-meter-long millipede as it charges forward? Surprisingly, such a scenario once played out on Earth. Arthropleura was a member of the myriapod lineage and a distant relative of modern centipedes and millipedes. During the Carboniferous period, it was the largest terrestrial invertebrate on the planet. Despite the word centipede in its name, it was more closely related to millipedes. This giant species typically had around 30 body segments, with the ratio of leg pairs to segments roughly 8 to 6, remarkably similar to modern millipedes. Imagine a millipede taller than basketball star Yao Ming standing in front of you. It would be the stuff of nightmares. The largest Arthropleura fossil discovered so far was found in New Mexico, resembling a flattened tire, about half a meter wide and 2.4 meters long. Even as a fossil, the gear-like ridges along its back and the clearly visible patterns are enough to make one's scalp tingle. You might wonder what such a massive creature ate to reach that size. Research shows that Arthropleura was actually herbivorous. Plant debris, including conifer fragments and seed-like material, has been found in its digestive tract and near the anus, indicating a plant-based diet. As the Carboniferous period ended, these giants went extinct, partly due to climate change. Humid conditions became drier, rainforests shrank, and their natural habitat diminished. It is worth noting that during Arthropleura's time, atmospheric oxygen levels were around 30%, nearly 50% higher than today, so the next time someone claims climate change is not real, the fossil record may beg to differ. You can introduce this incredibly bizarre giant arthropleurid to them. Second place, Mosasaurs. The name Mosasaur means lizard of the Meuse River in Latin. They were among the largest apex predators to live their entire lives in the ocean. Although their history was relatively short, these amphibious reptiles rose rapidly, riding the waves and wiping out older marine reptile lineages such as pliosaurs. To understand their story, we must start with small land-dwelling lizards known as Aegialosaurs. Around 95 million years ago, pressured by dinosaurs on land, these lizards retreated into the sea and began a long evolutionary journey. After about 3 million years, they evolved into forms like Dilophosaurus. Over time, their toes transformed into paddle-like limbs, making life on land impossible. During the following 6 million years, these once 1-meter-long lizards gradually became enormous mosasaurs reaching lengths of up to 19.8 meters. Short history, astonishing growth rate. These marine predators fed on fish, sea turtles, other marine reptiles, and even hunted other giant creatures of the ocean. However, in the late Cretaceous, mosasaurs, ichthyosaurs, and plesiosaurs vanished alongside the dinosaurs during a mass extinction event. Once at the very top of the food chain, they ultimately disappeared when that chain collapsed around 65 million years ago, leaving them without sufficient food. First place, the Triassic sea monster. According to foreign reports, scientists believe that between 250 and 200 million years ago, the Triassic oceans may have harbored a gigantic marine monster, often referred to as the Triassic sea serpent. Ichthyosaurs were large marine animals of the Triassic period, typically around 4 meters long and weighing up to 1,000 kilograms, while exceptional individuals could reach an astonishing 23 meters, rivaling today's blue whale. However, mysterious fossils discovered in Berlin, Ichthyosaur State Park in Nevada reveal irregularly arranged ichthyosaur vertebrae, likely caused by lethal damage from enormous torsional forces. This suggests the possible existence of an even larger marine organism, such as a giant cephalopod, capable of killing and tearing apart ichthyosaurs. Aside from deliberate external forces, the probability of natural processes twisting marine skeletons into such shapes is almost zero. The vertebrae appear to shift from a highly ordered arrangement to a relatively ordered one, something nature does not do with such intent. This points toward another highly intelligent marine organism. The prime suspects are cephalopods, long renowned for their intelligence. These animals are known to use bones and shells to conceal themselves. Scientists speculate that a giant cephalopod may have wrapped its tentacles around an ichthyosaur and launched a leopard-like ambush. Although the existence of the Triassic sea monster remains controversial, its story continues to spark scientific curiosity and the desire to explore. Alright, that's everything in this episode. Of the 10 extinct creatures more terrifying than dinosaurs introduced today, which one left the deepest impression on you? Feel free to tell us in the comments.